Good morning and welcome again as we sit down and just spend a couple of moments in the Word of God. The rest of the day I'll send you a few tweets, but today our passage is going to be from our Old Testament reading in the story of Isaac getting his wife. There came a point as Abraham grew old that he called his chief servant and he said, I need to make sure that my son is taken care of in this area of love. He's going to receive all of my inheritance and he's going to receive the legacy of the generational blessings of God that are upon my life. I need to make sure that this very important part of his life is taken care of. So he sends his chief servant out to find a wife for Isaac. Now, the chief servant is the one who actually prays the prayer of success. Let me give you 5 very quick thoughts about a prayer for success. First of all, the prayer is rooted in the will of God. Abraham instructed his servant that there are 2 very important things about being successful in getting my son a wife. Number 1, she has to come from the godly line. She cannot come from the Canaanite line. And secondly, my son has to stay in the land. Now, success is not going to be granted by God if it is not rooted in the will of God. And maybe sometimes as parents we need to be a little more concerned about who our children fall in love with. I'm not saying that we should arrange their marriages, though we have several arranged marriages in the church in our Indian community. But what I am saying is, if you want to see the legacy pass on, and if you want to see the 3rd generation blessed, maybe as parents we should be a little bit more involved in the choices of love. So it starts by being rooted and grounded in the will of God. Secondly, it is prayed in a place where it could be answered. Now if you notice, he prayed that prayer, verse 13, standing beside this spring. He said, Lord, give me success today and show kindness to my master Abraham. See, I am standing beside this spring, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. If you're praying for success in getting a job, the place to pray that prayer is while you're applying. It's not while you sit at home and watch Eat Bulaga. You have to put yourself in a place where God can answer the prayer. It's one of the most misunderstood concepts of a prayer for success. If you want God to give you success, you have to be doing something. You have to be in a place where God can give you success. If you're praying for God to give you success in a business negotiation to sell a piece of property, well, you have to be negotiating with somebody. The prayer of success is prayed in a place where God can answer it. The 3rd thing I want you to see is that it was answered very quickly. Verse 15, before he had finished praying. I like that. God is not slow in answering prayer, and some of you need to realize that. Some of you are so used and so programmed yourself that, well, this is going to take a long time. God really surprises you when he answers your prayers before you finish praying. The 4th thing I want you to notice is in verse 21. When he saw the answer begin to unfold, he kept his mouth shut. He didn't jump up and down and start to shout. He kept his mouth shut. He silently observed. Sometimes we can mess up an answer to prayer. Sometimes we can scare an answer to prayer off. We can respond in the natural as we see the excitement of it all, and the people who are involved in it will think we're nuts and run away. Imagine this young lady's reaction if he would have been shouting and screaming the instant she said, can I draw water for your camels? No. He silently observed. So sometimes as you watch God unfold an answer to prayer in your life, just sit back and be quiet. And the last thing I want you to see is when it's all done, you respond in worship. Verse 26, then the man bowed down and worshiped God, saying, every time God answers your prayer, come back to him and say thank you. Come back to him and worship. Now today, put yourself in a place where God can answer a prayer for success and pray that prayer for success.